What if the thing separating a champion from everyone else has nothing to do with talent? Some people fall down and treat it as proof they should quit. Others fall down and treat it as data. This video breaks down what actually happens inside the brain of someone with a true champion mindset, why most positive affirmations fail the people who use them, and the specific mental shift that turns belief into real results. Stick around, because the science behind this is not what most people expect, and by the end, the difference between the two groups will feel obvious. Most people think champions are simply born more confident. That belief feels comforting because it lets everyone else off the hook. But psychologists have studied elite performers for decades, and confidence almost never comes first. It comes after. Albert Bandura, the psychologist who coined the term self-efficacy, found that belief in one's own ability grows from repeated small wins, not from feeling good in advance. A person does not become confident and then start succeeding. A person succeeds at something small, notices it, and confidence grows from that evidence. Bandura actually mapped out 4 sources that build this kind of belief, and mastery experiences, the small wins themselves, top the list above everything else, even above encouragement from other people. Watching someone similar succeed came in second, which is part of why champions often study other champions closely instead of just admiring them from a distance. Champions stack these small wins on purpose. They set tiny winnable challenges before facing bigger ones, because each win becomes proof their brain can point to later. This is why 2 people can start at the exact same skill level, and one pulls ahead within months. The one who pulls ahead is not smarter. They are simply collecting evidence of their own competence faster than the other person, and that evidence becomes the foundation everything else is built on. So if belief comes from evidence and not from mood, that raises an uncomfortable question about affirmations. If someone just repeats, "I am confident" in the mirror without any evidence behind it, does that actually work, or is it just noise? Here is where most people get affirmations completely wrong. A well-known study out of the University of Waterloo found that people with low self-esteem who repeated the phrase, "I am a lovable person," actually felt worse afterward, not better. Their brain flagged the statement as false because it contradicted their existing self-image. And arguing with a lie does not build confidence, it just creates friction. The same researchers noticed something else worth mentioning. People with already high self-esteem got a small boost from the same phrase, which shows the affirmation itself was never the active ingredient. What mattered was whether the brain already had evidence to back it up. This is the part nobody talks about in motivational content. Blind repetition without belief does not rewire anything. But the same research found something else, something more useful. When people turned the statement into a question instead, asking, "Am I a lovable person?" rather than declaring it, their brain started searching for reasons why it might be true. That search is where the real change begins. Researchers call this the interrogative self-talk effect, and it shows up in other studies too, including ones on motivation, where people who ask themselves, "Will I?" instead of telling themselves, "I will," followed through more often. Questions invite the brain to hunt for proof. Statements just ask the brain to accept something on faith, and a skeptical brain rarely does that quietly. This connects to neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to physically reshape itself based on repeated thought patterns and behavior. Thoughts that get revisited often enough strengthen certain neural pathways, making that thought easier to access next time. But the pathway only strengthens when the brain actually engages with the idea, not when it rejects it outright. So the champion mindset is not about chanting empty phrases. It is about asking better questions and then proving the answer through action, which leads to the next problem. Even if someone believes real change is possible, why do so many people still quit the moment things get hard? The answer lives in identity, not motivation. Researchers who study habit formation, including work popularized by James Clear but rooted in decades of behavioral psychology, describe 2 different ways people approach change. One is outcome-based. A person wants to lose weight, so they diet for a few weeks. The other is identity-based. A person sees themselves as someone who trains, so they show up regardless of the outcome that day. Identity-based change lasts longer because it does not rely on constant motivation. Motivation is a feeling, and feelings are unreliable. Identity is a decision, and decisions can be repeated even on bad days. This is the actual mechanism behind champion mindset, not some mystical inner fire, but a simple identity switch. Michael Jordan famously said he did not miss games, did not miss practices, and treated basketball as part of who he was, not just something he did. That framing changes behavior at a biological level too. Every time someone acts in line with an identity, the brain treats it as confirmation, reinforcing the neural pathway tied to that self-image, similar to how the small wins built confidence earlier. Researchers sometimes call this self-perception in action. The brain does not just form beliefs and then act on them. It also watches behavior and updates beliefs to match, almost like a person is a witness to their own life, drawing conclusions from what they see themselves do. So someone who shows up to train, even when they do not feel like it, is quietly telling their own brain something important about who they are. The two systems feed each other. Identity drives action. Action creates evidence, and evidence strengthens identity. But this raises the final and most important question. If the mindset is not fixed, then how does someone actually flip the switch from doubt to belief when they currently feel stuck? The flip does not happen from a single decision. It happens from a single repeated pattern, done under pressure, when quitting feels easier than continuing. Sports psychologists who study resilience point to something called the recovery window, the amount of time it takes a person to reset emotionally after a setback. Average performers might dwell on failure for days. High performers train themselves to shorten that window to minutes or even seconds, not because they feel less pain from failure, but because they have built the identity of someone who moves forward anyway. Some resilience researchers describe this as the real dividing line in competitive sports, more predictive of long-term success than raw talent scores measured early in an athlete's career. That single habit, shrinking the recovery window, compounds faster than any other trait studied in high achievers. It means more attempts, more small wins, more evidence, and a stronger identity, all from one skill. This is the real secret behind every champion mindset story ever told. Not talent, not luck, not even raw motivation. Just a faster bounce back, repeated enough times that it becomes who a person is instead of something a person does. The people who never build this skill stay stuck arguing with their own doubts forever. The people who do build it stop needing to argue at all, because their actions have already answered the question their mind used to ask. That is the real difference between the two paths. One person waits to feel like a champion before acting like one. The other acts first and lets the feeling catch up later, if it ever shows up at all. If this hits something, tap like so this reaches more people chasing the same growth. Subscribe for more breakdowns on mindset, discipline, and the psychology behind real change. And if someone comes to mind who needs to hear this today, send it their way. That one share might be the push they didn't know they needed.